Tired of getting stuck at a CLB 8 on your CELPIP speaking test? Watch this video until the end and you're going to find out how to get a CLB 9 or higher. And make sure you watch until the end because we're going to analyze some sample responses. Hi, I'm Maria. I'm a certified Canadian CELPIP expert here to help you get your Canadian permanent residency. So when you take your CELPIP speaking test, there are 8 speaking tasks, and multiple CELPIP test raters will be assessing your responses based on a set of performance standards. You'll want to adjust your speaking style to the audience and the situation. But how do you do that? Don't worry, I've got you covered with 3 tips. Tip number 1, change your tone of voice according to who you have to speak to in the question. This is going to determine whether or not you respond with a formal or informal tone of voice. Do you have to speak to a friend, a colleague at work, or your manager? Your intonation and your language should be appropriate for the audience. In other words, who you have to speak to. Remember that the CELPIP test is a functional English language proficiency test. It's not an academic test. Your CELPIP test rater wants to hear your ability to adjust your tone of voice according to who you have to speak to and whether or not you can speak functionally in everyday life, real life situations at work and in your community. Tip number 2 is a rare tip that you probably will not hear on any other YouTube video. It's to make sure that your tone of voice is consistent throughout the entire response. Not only does your tone of voice have to be appropriate for the prompt, it also has to be consistent from the beginning of your response all the way through until the end of the response. Now, this is super important. A lot of times, students or test takers might start off the response with an appropriate tone of voice according to who they are speaking to. And then somehow or throughout the middle of the response or towards the end, their tone of voice might shift, or they might say something, or their language might become inappropriate for the situation or who they're talking to. They might say a joke, or they might throw in an idiom, or they just might say something that might come off as a little bit rude, or just a little bit too formal, or a little bit too informal for the context or who they are speaking to in the question. Now remember that you want to make sure that your tone of voice is appropriate for the person in the situation for the entire response. It cannot oscillate or vacillate at any point from the beginning all the way to the end of the response. This is especially important on the CELPIP test because the CELPIP test is not an academic English test. So if at any point you use really academic language in your responses, the test raters don't seem to really like that. Remember that the CELPIP test is a functional English test. We don't need to use really academic or extremely formal language unless the question asks for it. Tip number 3, use appropriate language for the situation in the question. On the CELPIP speaking test, you are given 8 speaking tasks. And on some of those speaking tasks, specifically 1, 5, 6, and 8, you have to speak directly to someone. Now, my tip there is to pretend that you are really speaking to someone, envision yourself, picture yourself speaking directly to the person so that your responses come across as natural as possible. Now, for these tasks, you want to make sure that you are adjusting your language according to the seriousness or the severity of the situation. Now, in some of those tasks, you might have a very peculiar or odd situation, and some of them, they just might be lighthearted or fun. For example, on task 1 of the speaking test, you'll have to give somebody advice. You'll have 30 seconds to prepare and 90 seconds to speak. Make sure that you adjust your language according to how serious the situation is. For example, in task 1 of the CELPIP speaking test, you'll have to give someone advice. Now make sure that you adjust your language according to how serious the situation is. You might have to help somebody choose a university they have to go to or to make a serious life decision. Now it might be serious or it might be a little bit more lighthearted. Really adjust your language according to how serious the situation is. Both your language, in other words, what you say in your response, and your intonation should be appropriate to the severity of the situation. So now let's take a look at some real-life test taker examples that did a good job at adjusting their speaking styles according to both the audience and the situations in their questions. We are also going to make comparisons between the CLB levels, the Canadian Language Benchmark. Keep in mind that tone of voice is just one of the many components of the CELPIP Test Rater performance standards. Now, I know you're probably thinking, I need a CLB 9, so let's get started right away by taking a look at a sample CLB 9 response. Now, before we start listening to some sample responses, keep in mind that these samples I'm going to show you are from real test takers, so they do have some mistakes in them. But it is helpful for you to see the differences between the CLB levels. But watch until the end because I will give you a real Canadian and CELPIP expert's response. This is an example of a Task 1 speaking response. Here's the question. Your friend has just graduated with a business degree and has been offered a job overseas. Although the job would be an excellent opportunity, she's not sure about moving so far away from her friends and family. Give her advice on what she should consider when making her decision. Let's listen to the sample response.
Hey Joanne, congratulations on graduating with a business degree and getting a job. I understand the job is an excellent opportunity. Though it is overseas, you shouldn't be worried about moving away from your friends and family. I think this job would be a great fit for your skill set and you'll be able to grow higher in the organization at a much faster pace. I understand that staying away from your family is causing you a lot of discomfort, but there is always vacation where they could travel to your place or you could travel back home. In a way, it's good because if your parents come to you, you can show them around the new country. They haven't been there before. I'm thinking, and I believe that this job will be a perfect fit for you and you will be able to grow to great heights through this job. All the things that you have learned during business school will be applicable to this job role. Looking at any of the other job offers that you might get, I'm not sure they would be as good at this and give you the pay and the lifestyle as this job would give you. Moving away from your family for a short time, I think is a trade-off that we will have to make for a brighter and better future. So I would say take the job and go.
Take a look at the transcript. Now let's consider whether or not this speaker was able to adjust their speaking style to the audience and the situation in the question. The speaker creates a friendly tone, but they also maintain a serious attitude given the situation. Let's take a look at some important phrases that stand out. You shouldn't be worried. I understand that. I believe that. Now let's compare a CLB 7 and a CLB 8. For the same question, now let's listen to a CLB 7 sample response.
Well, congratulations on getting a new job. I'm really excited for you. And I know you're very considerate about moving so far away from your friends and your family. But if I were you, I would take this opportunity because, first of all, it's a new job sounds very exciting and you can earn a lot of money. And then the best thing is you get to go to a different country within a different city. You'll meet different people and you'll make new friends, and you also get exposed to different cultures and different foods and beverages. I would definitely take this opportunity, even if sometimes you feel lonely and you miss your home and your friends. But even then, this opportunity will help you to be more independent and explore more opportunities that you would have never thought of before. So I highly suggest that you take this opportunity and work hard, and I'm sure you'll make a lot of new friends and you'll establish yourself really well in the new city.
Notice how the speaker can adjust their speaking style and tone of voice to familiar listeners and situations. They are also able to convey their intentions clearly to others. The speaker exclaims, "Well, congratulations on getting a new job. I'm really excited for you." The speaker also expresses their empathy when they say, "I would definitely take this opportunity even if sometimes you feel lonely and you miss your home and your friends. But even then, this opportunity will help you to be more independent and explore more opportunities that you would have never thought of before." Here is a CLB 8 sample response.
I really think that you should take that job offer, even if it's far away. This will help you to start your professional development, and also being far will help you to be stronger, and you will learn from your mistakes and take better decisions. Now with the technology that we can use Skype or the FaceTime with our phones, you won't feel that you are that far away. However, the payment is really good, and you have to start getting more references for future jobs, and this is the perfect job to start. The payment is good. The company is a really well-known company because they have a lot of benefits. They have a really good environment, and if you miss the opportunity later on, you will regret it, and then there's no time to go back. You can always be in a new place, see the new culture from city to city, and never be scared. I'm pretty sure you will meet new people there that will be there to help you if you have any trouble, or you can always contact.
The speaker establishes a firm but friendly tone when advising. I really think you should take that job offer, and that it is a trade-off for a brighter and better future. However, the speaker also reassures the other person to never be scared, because there will be new people to meet there. For those of you who want to score higher than a CLB 9, let's check out a CLB 10 response. Now for a CLB 10, this is for highly effective proficiency in the workplace and in community contexts. Let's listen to a sample response.
Well, I can sure understand that you don't want to have the experience to be so far away from your family. I totally see that, and I miss my family too. But it gives you a great opportunity to learn something that you've always wanted to learn. You've gone so far already with your business degree. You want to learn a lot more and get into more knowledge, better skills. You want to be there for other people. You want to explore the world. So I think this job to go overseas is just a great opportunity for you. You will meet new friends. You will enjoy the country there. The weather is beautiful. And later on, when you come back in 2-3 years, that is just looking great on your resume. So you'll have a lot of experience and start in a better job here then. Because you can say, yes, I have already gotten a lot of experience in that other country overseas. Yeah, so I think it would be a great opportunity, but I'm sure gonna miss you, and I will try to visit because I've always wanted to go to that country that you're going to. And I know nowadays a plane is not too far and you can go back and we can see each other and you can come home for Christmas and stuff. So I hope you can really take that job and do the best with it.
For a CLB 10, speakers can adjust their speaking style to a broad range of audiences and situations, and they can convey their intentions and ideas. The speaker emphasizes with the other person, I totally see that, and I miss my family too. The speaker also imagines what the other person could say afterwards. You can say, yes, I have already gotten a lot of experience in another country overseas. And if you want to hear a native Canadian speaker's response and a CELPIP expert's response, here is my response. And finally, let's listen to a sample response by me, your certified Canadian English teacher and your certified Canadian CELPIP expert. Hey Sally, so I heard you got a job abroad. Congratulations. I know you're a little bit concerned because it's so far away from Canada and you'll be far from your friends and family. I've been putting myself in your shoes, and since I've also lived abroad myself, I'd love to give you some friendly advice on why you should take on this amazing opportunity. For starters, you've just graduated from business school and it'll be a great opportunity to kickstart your career. You probably won't be able to find such a fantastic job offer right off the bat here like that in Canada, since our job market is so slow right now. Also, since it's such a great opportunity, it's going to look so good on your resume. When you do decide to come back to Canada, you'll be able to get any job you want, and you'll be way ahead of the game in your career. Another reason why I think you should accept this job offer is because your friends and family will support you and will stay in touch even though you'll be far. I know you'll miss everyone and we'll miss you too. But with technology nowadays, we can talk every day on the phone and by video chat. I promise we'll stay in touch. And you know what? Flights nowadays aren't as expensive as they used to be. Who knows? Maybe you can even negotiate an annual flight to come home as a benefit with your new company. Overall, I definitely think this is a worthwhile opportunity. You know, life is short, and I'm so excited for you. Learning how to adjust your speaking style is probably one of the hardest things that comes with learning a new language. I remember when I was learning Portuguese, I found that adjusting my tone of voice and really understanding which idioms and expressions were appropriate for a certain context was probably the hardest part about becoming fluent. There are also lots of cultural subtleties and differences that come with tone of voice. When you're learning a new language, especially English here in Canada, there's a lot more to it than just learning grammar and vocabulary. Tone of voice is very, very important, especially when you're going to take the CELPIP test. If you need a CELPIP professional and a certified Canadian English teacher to help you in your CELPIP journey so that you can get your Canadian permanent residency, get in touch with our team here at English for Canada. We would be more than happy and honored to help you in your journey so that you can also become a Canadian.